Here we go. Christopher Patel, you tweeted you sold out of something today. Can you explain what you sold out of, why you sold out of it, how much did you sell out of it, and what you bought with the thing that you sold out of?
So I still have shares of Meta, but I sold out of all my options on Meta. So I did take some profits last week and the week before that because there was just really good
I
profits.
thought
Like,
you
what are you
already
gonna
did
do?
that. Yeah, you mentioned you did
Yeah,
that before. So
yeah. No, I still had a little bit here and there, just riding to just to see where it would go.
So to confirm, today you got rid of all the Leap contracts, but you still have shares,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, I still have some shares. So in my longer term portfolio with just shares, I have some. But here's the kicker with it. I ended up buying some Amazon with it because I ended up converted a lot of those leaps to Amazon leaps because the pricing on the Amazon leaps I think is undervalued.
which ones? What strikes? Well,
The
give us some specifics.
The 2025
Yep.
calls.
Yep.
20, what is it? 135 and 165 on the other side. So yep.
Oh,
Yep,
you strictly do spreads. You don't actually do.
No, I do regular calls as well. It just depends on like what the market is like. Like I think at 165 it could be a little bit overvalued. At 135 it's super undervalued. So in Amazon's case, the premium on the top line was too good. If let's say I'm looking at Meta, I bought the Meta ones naked when I first got them because that was just like there is no upside cap to Meta where it was going to go. Like you couldn't tell, right? So you can always do the latter and sell some of those, sell some later, right?
Yep.
And then in which case you could just create the spread later on. But yeah, just I think that was it. I have some call contracts on.
Can you explain
SMCI, which I'm
why
holding.
you sold Meta? Like, can you why did the options leave today? Like, what was is it just valuation or is there something else?
Well, yeah, the valuation. So when it was really, really undervalued, it made a lot of sense. At this point, Meta, what happens is when it's undervalued, it's much easier to go higher because you can make some business opportunity changes and everything else to get it higher. Now, Meta's got to organically do more and more and more. And the return that you're going to see is going to be a lot more limited upside. Whereas Amazon is now getting in the phase like Meta was, where they're actually doing cost rationalization. So you kind of want to be in this kind of market. You want to be on the one that has the better upside, especially with the numbers not really being reflected on Amazon's what is that thing called, like share price yet. That's the biggest thing. Like if you look at what the share price of Amazon is, it's trading around its 2020 levels when it was half the revenue. So
yeah,
a lot of the stuff that they have, their CapEx and everything else that they're cutting, like every day I'm looking at the news, every time I'm analyzing, I just see CapEx cuts, OpEx cuts. They're reducing down their human resources count, which means that they're further reducing other things. They have an RTO in place, return to office place. So you're going to see a lot of employees come. I think that that's being used as a way to push attrition for certain people that don't necessarily want to work or don't necessarily want to be part of a more broader cultural shift that Amazon is undergoing. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I'll be honest. I think some tech companies have had bloated employee bases where they've been hired during the COVID crisis and maybe a little bit before then, and they've gotten so used to work from home and their productivity is gone down significantly. And when you have that productivity drop, at the ground level, everyone's like, no, we don't want to come to work. Like, I don't want to take the train to work, which is good. Like some people can work from home. I totally think that it's possible. But if you think the vast majority of people can work from home and be as productive as they are when they're cross collaborating in the office, it's a different thing. So Amazon, and they know it, they see the metrics. Every executive on Wall Street, every executive on Silicon Valley right now is trying to figure out ways to bring their workers back to the office, and Amazon seems to be leading the way.
There was also some other stuff on Meta real quick. So the FTC came out with something on Meta today. And basically they said, to my understanding of it, you can't use data from teens, meaning people, I think, under 15 or 16 or whatever, and use it to monetize Essentially, that's like that was the extent of something they said. I might be getting it wrong, but it was something that was not good for Meta. Meta says this is a political stunt. Despite 3 years of continual engagement with the FTC around our agreement, they provided no opportunity to discuss this new, totally unprecedented theory. Let's be clear about what they're trying to do: usurp the authority of Congress to set industry-wide standards, and instead single out one American company while allowing Chinese companies like TikTok to operate without constraint. FTC Chair Lina Khan has a very interesting on using any measure, however baseless, to antagonize American business has reached a new low. We have spent vast resources building and implementing an industry-leading privacy program under the terms of our FTC agreement. We will vigorously fight this action and expect to prevail. Is this another part of a bear thesis while the stock is at this valuation to really not get into Meta right now, given what the FTC is saying?
I don't think so. I think these are the kinds of things that are just going to keep coming around. This is like this, you know, who's celebrating right now? Meta's lawyers. Meta's lawyers' fees just went up 5-fold because now they're all the Meta's going to do is just fight this. This is how Congress, the government works. The government comes up with legislation, the industry fights back, and then they come to some sort of compromise. Then the industry knows how to get around the compromise, and then it's like another 5-year cycle of the bullshit. If the FTC didn't do stuff like this, they wouldn't have a job. So they need to keep their presence up there. Like, look, we're doing something. So
why wouldn't they have a job? Isn't there other stuff they can regulate?
No, I mean, this is what they need. They need high profile, you know, like articles. Like no one is going to say, oh my God, we need the FTC because they protected us against, I don't know, something really small. Everyone sees the headlines. Like the fact that we're talking about it right now is what the FTC wants. They want to be in the forefront of it, especially after the fallout of what is that thing called? FTX and all the other stuff, which clearly they were fucking sleeping at the wheel. Think about it. Your job is to protect the consumer. Where the fuck were you when all this shit happened? You weren't around, were you? So now they got to go after some big fish to get their credibility back, and that's all it is.
Okay.
I'm sure Meta's lawyers and lobbyists are working overtime to figure out how to dead this thing.
Vitaly, any thoughts on or did you sell out of your calls as well? Did you or are you
I actually did sell my calls, and I did buy, this is earlier though, not today, and bought Amazon options instead. But as far as my shares, I'm not selling. I still have a very, very decent sized core position in Meta. And if my thesis is that they're going to make this metaverse, this is a long thesis. So I'm not willing to trade in and out of a stock like this because, you know, like I agree with Kris that temporarily Amazon might have more upside. I agree with that part. That's why I sold the calls. But in terms of my shares, I think Meta still has a long runway in terms of the ad business itself. When we talked even on our Discord about WhatsApp, how they're growing that side of the business. So the fact that Kris sells out of everything, basically, you know, anytime he doesn't see as much upside, for me, it's like I also keep stuff. Maybe you're in a tax advantage account. I don't know if it's an IRA. I don't want to keep trading out of positions that I actually believe in long term because all I'm doing is creating tax consequences. And then I have to wait until it drops 20-30%, and that might not happen exactly, and I might not be able to time that perfectly. Having said that, I do want to share, should I share a chart on Meta for a second?
Go ahead, let's share your chart, and then after that we're going to talk about regional banks starting to collapse at a unprecedented level. 2 of them today. Kelly says, Amit, please fix everything about your look today.
She's right. you totally don't match, sort of. You're all over the place.
She'll be on the pod tomorrow. If you can tell me.
It doesn't even go with your fake brick wall. It doesn't.
Everyone come tomorrow because Kelly was on the pod, so don't forget. She'll be here.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Kelly on the pod. Maybe we can, you know, wink at each other. So right now, you know, if you're a trader, then I could see you can look, you know, we hit resistance here at 247 or so. And we also gapped up. You guys see this little part here? Yep. I don't know how clear it is, but we gapped up. So maybe we'll fill that gap. I don't know. I don't really believe in every single gap being filled, but that's a big thing in the market. So we might be heading back down to 218 around. This is what I mean. Let's say I sold out at 240. Now I have to time that it's going to happen to 218, 19. Then I have a tax implication. Maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe I'll get some FOMO. I don't want to do any of that. So because I'm looking at a bigger trend that if Meta is fixing its house and just the ad business, forget about the metaverse, we have a massive gap from here to here, which is basically from 250 to 290. So at some point in the future, I don't know when this is going to get filled, but Meta's going back to around $300. I don't know if it's happening today, tomorrow, a week from now, 6 months from now, but this is going to happen, people. Okay. Meta's a good business and they print money. So eventually it's going to be in the 300s again. And then everybody's going to say, oh, I should have bought Meta. I should have held that stock. And so I don't want to be part of those people wishing I did hold it. I'm just going to hold it.
Yeah. I think one of Berkshire's lieutenants actually sold out of Meta too.
I'm
I
out.
found- yeah.
If
Yeah. No, I'm
Berkshire's
just
out,
saying.
I'm out.
No, I'm just saying it's like one of those things that when you see the whales start selling out of positions and buying into positions, it's something to keep in mind. Like one of the reasons why I ended up buying Meta too was because I saw a lot of interest from hedge funds adding to their Meta
They were buying a
positions.
lot. Yes, they were.
Now what's funny is now they're all adding Amazon. You know,
And
so
Google. And Google.
and Google. So the two that we have, like we're very bullish on, are both being added significantly by hedge funds. And I mean, it's, you know what it is? It's a flight to quality, right? These companies are still very healthy businesses. They're still generating cash flow. Not as much for Amazon's sake, but they're making the capex cuts to make sure that they can grow their cash flow going forward. So I think all of that stuff is going to be reflected in the share price, you know, sooner rather than later. But you know, Google, on the other hand, Google's got like a existential war going on with Microsoft. So they're on like another level of, hey, let's start kicking, you know, products out. Like whatever they were holding back on, they're not holding back anymore. And I'm curious to see the newer products that are coming out.